Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well. Today I'm doing a video on Saturday, which I don't normally do, but I've got quite a lot of videos I want to get to you guys. It was a busy week last week and there was a lot of moves that I personally made, and I want to update you guys with some of those moves, starting with the one today of selling my Celsius position. I wanted to update you guys for the transparency and go, I've completely sold out on my position of Celsius. If you ever want to see what I'm doing in real time, the place to be is on the Patreon. Obviously, you guys know I've made this move, but I wanted to update you guys on the YouTube channel as well to tell you that I have sold completely out of my Celsius position. I did take a 15% loss on my Celsius position, but the problem is at the moment is that I just see the stock completely sinking. The financials are sinking and there's water coming on the ship. And before the ship ends up at the bottom of the sea, I want to jump ship while I still have a chance to get off it for an okay price. And 15% loss, yeah, not great, but it's not the end of the world. I can certainly make that up in other stocks. Overall, though, I'm sure most of you guys are aware, I did used to own the stock as well 2 years ago. So when the stock did this rally, I did own the stock and I made good money from it. So as a net position, I am still up on the Celsius position. The only thing is that when it started dipping again, I thought, okay, I can come back into Celsius and make more money, and that's certainly not being the case. The Celsius brand has deteriorated really fast, faster than what I thought it would, and I thought, okay, I've been in this situation before when I've stayed on the ship too long when the brand is sinking, and I've had to take big losses. This is my chance to get off the ship. Well, it's only taking on a little bit of water before it ends up at the bottom of the ocean. So let's start with the headline numbers. So Celsius overall EPS miss wasn't terrible, but revenue down 7%. Not great. The reason why as well is because if you look at the last quarter once again, it's decelerating. Like the pace that this is declining on sales is really concerning. It's when it's not, and I think the quarter before was obviously really bad as well. So this is 3 bad quarters, and the thing is the Celsius, as it goes on, the quarters are getting worse and worse and worse, which is not what you want to see here. I mean, a 7% decline. This company's trading 41 times earnings. This is not great at all. This is really poor. So that was a major concern here. One of the reasons why they said that the sales were declining is because of the Pepsi issue. The problem is now the Pepsi issue is completely out of the way, and they're still trying to blame it on distributor. Like you said, it was done in Q4, and now we're in Q1, and you're still trying to blame something else on the distributor. Like, when are you going to take blame for it? And when we look at some of the numbers further in here, you'll be able to see actually there's actually concerns, because, for example, if we look at the September numbers, when that was a really big miss, but they were blaming the Pepsi deal. We were having a look at something like the MULO numbers, and you can see here Celsius in total US with MULO plus convenience is growing by 7.1%. So when they were saying they're blaming the Pepsi issue at the moment, you're like, okay, I agree with you, because the data at the moment is actually showing that you're still growing sales at 7%. That's actually okay. And during that time frame, we were looking at sales like Costco, and Costco, their sales was still increasing 15%. The likes of Amazon, their sales were still increasing 21%. That was back on the update that we had around the November time frame. Now, the problem is that when we go to the latest earnings, when we start looking at the latest MULO data, we actually have a decline of 3%. So this is the data that the actual data at the tills is showing that Celsius as a brand is slowing down. That's massively concerning. So this is not a distributor issue anymore. It's the fact that at the till, people are buying less Celsius. That's a really big concern. Like I said last time as well, is that I was looking at the likes of Costco and Amazon, and they're going, look, believers that the sales at Amazon and Costco are still doing really well. Now the problem is that they are now not actually disclosing the Amazon and the Costco sales. So once again, where we were 6 months ago now, where we had Costco sales growing 15%, this is also negative. So this to me is showing that the Celsius brand is massively slowing down now. It's slowing down at the tills. It's slowing down at Amazon because they're not showing the data with us. And when we actually got, thanks to the analyst here that revealed it, we're actually seeing that Costco sales went from 15% up to negative. So that is massively concerning. That says to me that Celsius as a brand is not doing well at all. Now, the other issues I have is international growth. What they're trying to point out has been a strong position here, which they showed international revenue growth at 41%. And there's actually an analyst that came on and said that it seems pretty strong. Now, I don't know if this is correct, but if this is the Shane McGowan that I think it is, He was one that was really bullish on TTCF and was one of the people that helped me get stung by TTCF. And I think that he also doesn't have a great track record in this space. So if he's saying it's good, you've got to be really careful here. But the point being is that a few people were pointing that international growth is good. I totally disagree. 41% growth is poor in my opinion. Now you might be going, what? How is 41% growth poor? Well, listen to me for a second, okay? Last year, I think international growth was something like 30%. So it's nothing crazy, like there's no big expansion on the international growth. It's about where it was last year. Now, the thing is 12 months ago, where was Celsius? Celsius was not expanding into the UK. It was not expanding into the likes of France, Australia, New Zealand. It's done that in the last couple of months. So you imagine, okay, they've gone to all these international stores. Let's say Tesco, for example. Tesco in the UK has Celsius right now. You think about how many Tesco's there are in the UK. I don't even, to have a guess at that. What, like 10,000 maybe? I don't know. There's probably a good few thousand of Tesco in the UK. You imagine there's Celsius in every Tesco in the UK right now. You imagine all that shelf space they've gained with the Tesco and the WH Smiths. They've just had thousands of new points in the international segment. This international segment here, the international growth should be growing rapid because it's had thousands of new sales points. If you have thousands of new sales points, it shouldn't just do the same growth you did last year before you expanded into the UK, Europe, France, Australia, New Zealand. The growth should be hundreds of percent because you've got all these new sale points. So that says to me there that the international growth, 41% sounds okay, but when you actually put it into the context of how much shelf space they would have gained internationally in the last 12 months, and they're only putting 41% in, this figure here should be like 400, 500%. Major concern. But we knew this. I think I pointed this out a couple of months ago to you guys and I said this is a major concern. If you remember, I actually contacted the investor relation team of Celsius and I said the launch you're doing is poor in the UK and it's not going to work out for you. An example that, once again, if a guy in an office can spot this, it's majorly concerning. And the proof there is in the growth. Not good enough. Celsius launch in international was very poor. I was watching it from the UK. I was watching them launch into the UK. The advertising was poor. There was a lack of advertising. The advertising they were doing, obviously, some of you guys are in the private group, you would have seen the photo that Matty shared. And, they were going around the street and they didn't even really know much about the brand. They didn't even look like they were part of the Celsius team. The stand looked absolutely poor. The advertising was poor. The flavours they were launching internationally, 2 of the 3 flavours they launched internationally were crap. You want to be launching your best flavours, and they had 2 crap ones as well. And you probably see, this is a great thing when you actually know the stocks you invest in. Some of you guys on the Discord were doing the exact same things. We were going into Tesco's, and we were seeing on the launch Celsius having like 2 full rows of the Celsius brand, and where they're at right now, they have like a quarter of one shelf. If you're selling well, you don't go from 2 rows down to a quarter of a shelf. So even though those numbers look good there at 41%, it's not good. That number should, with the shelf space they've gained, that number should be 300, 400%. That's not good enough. We have Costco sales poor, the scan data poor, Amazon figures not being disclosed, so that probably means they're poor. International sales are very poor as well going forward. Let's talk about why the stock is probably holding up and actually year to date it's rolling up. Well, the reason it's rolling up is because they bought the Alani brand, and the Alani brand's increasing 88% year over year. So everyone's like, oh, well, the Alani brand's going to help, with the growth. And yeah, you know what? When the Alani brand sale close, it'll cover the cracks. The growth will look good. Alani will carry the growth up a little bit for Celsius, and that'll cover the cracks in the short term. The problem is that at the end of the day, didn't we all buy this for the Celsius brand? And really now, the Celsius brand is struggling. It's on the decline. So really, you're now buying a stock for a brand that you didn't even want to invest in to about 2 weeks ago, and now they have this Alani brand. Now, with the Alani brand is, the sales do look good at the moment, but the problem is that who's running that Alani brand right now? Well, it's the Celsius management team. And how's that worked out now? Because when you look at Celsius sales, the brand's actually struggling. Are we sure that, this Alani brand is going to do well under this Celsius brand? If we look at what they've done internationally with the Celsius brand, Do we trust them that they'll make the Alani international brand a success? I don't really know. And the problem that I have as well with the Alani brand is like, it's still relatively new. Like, this was founded in 2017. Do we know that Alani is going to, once again, is this going to be a long-term brand, or once again, is it kind of going to crash and burn, a bit like what Celsius is doing at the moment? Is it going to fall apart? We don't know. That's the big concern that I have, is that it looks great at the moment, but is it going to work out? And I also look at why Alani would want to sell. I still don't know why Alani, when they're having these growth rates, wanting to sell their stock out to Celsius. Because, if they thought they could do really well, why did they not just keep the company separate and think, you know what, we can be the third player here. We can keep this growth going. We IPO, we make more money from it. Why didn't it go down the path of that? Because wouldn't that make more sense? Unless they think that, okay, this is probably not sustainable. We might be a fad, let's get a big money for it now, and then it's someone else's problem. That makes me a bit concerned. And then once again, the issue that I have with the Alani brand as well is that for us guys in the UK, we actually already have Alani in the UK. And if you don't really know, we had Alani in the UK last year, and it was actually at Home Bargains. And they were selling Alani at Home Bargains for 49p. So the problem is that if you want to turn now Alani into a premium product into the UK, what's a premium product like Monster, Red Bull, Celsius? They're all selling for like £1.60, £1.70. So you're going to have to sell the Alani brand now internationally for like 3 times what you've been selling it for previously. Well, the problem is like, if people know that previously this was like a budget energy drink that was being sold at 50p, how are you going to go in and sell it now at £1.60 and justify that? And then the problem is that if you're going to do that, are people going to go buy it? Well, if people aren't going to buy it, then are you going to continue selling it for 49p? The problem is if you keep selling it for 49p, but at the moment Celsius sell their main brand, the Celsius brand, at like what, £1.60, £1.70. If you're then going to sell this one at 50p, all your margins are going to come down. So yeah, your growth might look amazing when the deal does close for Alani, but the problem is that margin-wise, it's going to be a bloody nightmare, because you're either going to have to increase the prices on Alani 3 times, and who's going to pay that when they know they were getting it for 50p 3 months ago? Or you sell it for 50p, but if you're selling it for 50p, you're not going to make as much profit on as the Celsius cans that you're selling for £1.70 or 80. So then your margins are going to collapse. So it's just a mess. And for me, I just went, you know what? I've been in this situation before when I've been in consumer brands. The numbers have been declining. I start feeling it in my stomach. I'm like, something's going wrong here. And I held on to it too long. I started to see the warning signs. TTTF, I saw the warning signs and I went, you know what, I'm going to continue to hold, and, crashed and burned. Celsius, I'm seeing the exact same thing. The Celsius brand struggling. There's no doubt about it. Previously they were blaming it on the Pepsi issue, but we could actually argue a case. Well, the scan data is still good. Costco sales are still good. Amazon sales are still good. We're okay. The problem is that we're now 6 months on. The scan data is weak. The Costco sales are down. The Amazon sales are down. The Celsius brand is struggling. They've had to make an acquisition to kind of cover up the cracks here with the Alani brand. And you know what? The Alani brand's going to cover the cracks for the time being. But the problem is this Alani brand going to be successful? I don't know. But I didn't invest in this company for the Alani brand. I bought it for the Celsius brand. All of a sudden I can't go, oh, that's a bit worrying. I don't matter because I've got the Alani brand. I can't do that. No, and as well, the Alani brand, it looks great right now, but I've got the problem of that, is this going to fall down? Are we going to trust them? Are we going to trust the Celsius management team that failed on the international launch? And that's another thing I forgot to mention, the failed international launch that's been very poor. Are we going to trust the same management team to do the exact same with the Alani brand? Is that going to fail? Why did the Alani team sell it for this level? I don't understand why they would sell it if they think they're going to be successful. And how they're going to increase prices to a premium brand when they've previously been a bargain brand. That's a major issue on gross margins. I just went, you can tell here, there's just too much going on here, which makes me uneasy. I'm seeing the warning signs. I'm getting that, my gut's telling me there's something wrong here. And, the stock's been up 35% this year. It's trading already at like 111 times earnings. If you go on a forward P, it's like 40 times earnings. And I just went, 40 times earnings for the unknown. The unknown the known is that we know the Celsius brand's failing. We don't know how successful the Alani brand's going to be. It's already trading at premium. Just take the loss and move on. And you know what? Alani might be an amazing brand, and it might be around here to stay for the next 10, 15 years, and it might be a stupid move. But I just looked at where we're at right now, and I thought, you know what? There's just like there's just things that are just looking worrying to me, and my gut's telling me there's something wrong. And when that happens, I've got to trust it, and I'm going to walk away from it. So yeah, thought I'd update you guys with it, and my kind of feelings, what's going on with that one at the moment. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and thanks for watching, and see you in a bit.